In this video, I'm going to share with you a step-by-step guide on how to start creating videos in your small business. The process is so simple that you can follow it even if you are a beginner. Now, before we dive into the steps and how to start creating these videos, I want to make sure that you understand how important it is to have videos in your small business, especially if you are a coach, a consultant, a trainer, a subject matter expert whose actual product in your business is you. Now, think about it this way: someone tells you about a new restaurant that they went to, or about a new artist that they started following, or about a new coach that they started working with. What's the first thing you do if you're interested in the topic? You get your phone and you look these people up. You go to Google, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, wherever you want to search, and you look for these people because you have an expectation to find content from them. So now the initial expectation is to find content, but the second expectation, which is growing more and more now, is to find videos of you and not just written content. Now, I know getting on video can feel a little intimidating or uncomfortable in the beginning, but after watching the 5-step process I'm about to share with you here, you're going to feel so much more confident and ready to take the next step. Hi, I'm Muna from Inside Out with Muna, where I help you build and grow your online business and your personal brand. If you're new here, make sure you subscribe and like to get notified every Tuesday when I release a new video. And every like matters. It really makes a big difference for the channel, so I appreciate you doing that. Now, after I share the 5-step process with you, I'm going to give you an additional tip that is so helpful for creating your next video. So make sure you stick around for that. But before we get into the steps, I have a special gift for you. As a thank you for being here, for watching, for listening, for learning, for engaging, I appreciate you. And for that, I created a free training. It's a 32-minute video training where I teach you how to make your first or your next $1,000 in your online business. Now, if you're someone who is new to this, who has a small following, that is the perfect training for you. If you are someone who's already making more than $1,000, then this training will also be helpful for you. The way that I've designed this training is the 5 steps work to generate income into your business no matter which phase of business you're in. I really enjoyed creating this training and I think you will enjoy it too. So make sure you grab it from the link underneath this video. So let's talk about video, shall we? Now, I know you came here for the steps and I'm going to give them to you, I promise. But can we first talk about the elephant in the room? Let's talk about the fact that you being here means that you've been searching for someone to help you with a step-by-step process to create a video, which I promise I'm going to do right now. But do you think that the reason that you haven't been creating videos is simply because you don't have the strategy, or maybe you don't have the best camera, or maybe because you don't know how to edit? I know that I had these same reasons, which are excuses before. And I know that underneath that is a deeper truth. Now, I don't know what the truth is for you and why you are waiting until now to create videos. The truth for me was, and the truth for many of my clients as well, and what we work through, has been 2 things really. Number 1 is what we call the imposter syndrome. It's this feeling when you start shooting a video and you hear yourself talking and then you hear that voice in your head saying, oh my God, who's gonna buy that? Buy that, I don't mean by pay for it. I mean buy that, like believe me. Or who am I to say that? Or somebody knows better than me. Or, all of these self-doubt and self-criticism kind of way of speaking to ourselves. This plays a very big role. And I have a video especially on that, which I'll link to here somewhere on this page for you to go and watch and enjoy. The second reason is because we have a fear of judgment mostly. We're afraid of what people might think, what they might say, how they might view us. And that stops us from being able to put ourselves out there. It's so much easier to write things and to post things in writing. But showing your face is a different kind of vulnerability and it requires a different level of courage and bravery. And I think these are the things that we need to start working on first, because I promise you, there's no lack of strategies or tutorials out there to teach you exactly how to turn on the camera, how to hook up a microphone, how to do all of these things. But without having that belief that your message matters, without getting out and what I'm saying is you don't need to stop being afraid. It's not about being fearless. It's about feeling this fear, feeling this discomfort, feeling this imposter syndrome come up and doing it anyway. I talk a lot about that on this channel, so you'll find plenty of videos around that. But I thought this was an important way to begin this video before we start the steps. Now, on to step number one. Now, I know it's step number one, but really it's an ongoing step that is continuously happening. And that is to have a place to write all of the ideas that come up for you for videos and for short, whether videos we're talking, whether they're YouTube videos like these or shorter reels or TikToks, shorter form videos, lives, whatever it is, all of these types of videos, it doesn't really matter. We're talking about video in general to promote you and your business and the message that you're sharing. So you need to have a place to store all of these content ideas. I've talked about this before, and I'll link to a video where I share all about how to never run out of things to say in your content online. But it's important to realize that your brain is not always going to remember all of the thoughts that you think. You might come up with an amazing idea for a video and think that you're going to remember it later, but not really remember it. So it's so important to have a place like a bank, some people call it content bank, where you write down all of the ideas as they pop up for you, so that on the day that you want to create these videos, you're not sitting there and wondering what to talk about that day, and to have a whole list in front of you. Step number two is to write a script. And this includes shorter videos. I promise you, writing a script makes your video so much better because you don't go off on tangents. You don't continue rambling because you know what you're going to say. Now, I know a lot of people only write down bullet points, but that is something that you can do later on if you want to, once you've gained the experience of being on video and of sharing your thoughts like that. I found that having a written script, like almost word for word, I don't actually say every word in the script that I've written, but it helps me get all of my ideas in front of me. This way, first of all, I can work on the structure. I can see where I'm starting with my hook, how I'm building up the problem, how I'm building up the solution, how I'm sharing the steps, how I'm ending, and the call to action. If you don't have a script, you might get all of these things kind of mixed up, and that makes for a difficult video to follow and to watch. And what you want is for people to continue watching your videos, right? So writing down a script is a very helpful way of first organizing your own thoughts and then helping you as you're shooting the video to remember what you want to say. Step number three is to set the scene. Now for this, you only need three things, and honestly, even without any of these, you can still create your video. But ideally, you need a tripod to have your phone set up on in a place where it's not going to shake. You need one ring light, more if you want, but one ring light should be enough. And you need a good microphone. All of these things are really not inexpensive these days, and you can find them easily. But if you don't have these things, then you can make sure that you're sitting in front of a window with the light in front of you, not behind you, so that's helpful. Make sure you're in a quiet room because sound and audio is really important for the engagement of the video. People might be able to watch kind of a video that's not great looking, but if the sound is good, that's fine. Otherwise, if the sound is bad, they'll just forward and go to the next video. So sound is really important. If you don't have a mic, I would invest in that as the first thing. But if you don't have it right now, that is no excuse not to create your first video. Just make sure you're in a quiet room in an area where you won't be interrupted. Step number four is to shoot the video. Now you have your script ready, you know exactly what you want to say. You have set the scene, you have your phone on a tripod, you have your ring lights or ring light on, you have your microphone set up. First thing you do is you test everything. I've made the mistake multiple times of shooting full videos only to realize that I hadn't turned on the microphone. And not only does that mean that the sound was bad, it meant it was completely muted because the thing is plugged in. Anyway, don't make this mistake. So always test for a few seconds before you begin the full shoot. That's the first thing. Then, as you're shooting the video, continue recording. So one thing that I used to do in the past, which ended up taking me so much time, is every time I make a mistake, I would stop the video and I would start from the beginning. Or I would stop the video and then start from wherever I stopped. And I kept stopping and playing and stopping and playing. And I learned with experience that it's so much better to just keep going. Like if you make a mistake, if you cough, like like now I need to cough, so that's an excuse. If you cough like that, stop for a second and go back to where you finished the last sentence. That makes it easier to edit in the next step. So don't keep skipping and stopping and starting again. Just keep going and you can edit everything out later. Step number 5 is to edit the video. Now, in this step, you have two options. You can either do the editing yourself or you can outsource the editing to a video editor. Now, for 4 years in my business, I was doing my own editing and I actually enjoyed it until I started noticing and I started tracking my time and seeing how much time it's taking for me to edit my own videos every single week for Reels and for YouTube longer form videos like these. And I realized that it's taking so much of my time and I started outsourcing this, and it has been the best thing I've done for me and my business, and it's just amazing. Now, if you are at a point in your business where you feel it's too early to outsource, first I want to tell you it's never too early. I wish I'd started doing this years ago. It would have given me time to do other things and to focus on other things and to, stay engaged in more creative work versus the editing work. And, an editor takes half the time to create a much better video than I would have ever been able to create. But anyway, I'm not here to convince you to outsource. If you feel this is too early for you, then there are so many different apps. I'm not going to pretend like I've played around with all of them. I have experience with two. One of them is a phone app that I've used for years. I still use it every once in a while because I still edit some of my shorter form videos on Instagram and TikTok. But the app is called Videoleap. And I promise you, I'm not a techie person, but I taught myself how to use this app using some YouTube tutorials and just playing around with it. And it took me a couple of weeks to get the hang of it. And in the beginning, it used to take me maybe about 4 or 5 hours to edit one short video. Towards the end, because I became an expert after years of editing my own videos, it started taking me an hour to 2 hours to edit longer form videos. So it's all about practice, and you really can't teach yourself these things. The other editing app that I use is called DaVinci Code, and it's on the PC. Not as user-friendly, to me at least, as Videoleap, but it's an option if you have to edit on your laptop. Again, these things are so easy to find. If you just search for a step-by-step tutorial, you will find these things. But I promise you, at the end of the day, it's not about the strategy. It's not about the phone. It's not about the camera. It's not about the ring light. It's about believing that what you have to share is valuable and that people will want to hear from you. You have to remember that video is one of the most effective ways to build a real connection and a bond with your audience, and to create this relationship where they trust you enough to invest in themselves by investing in you. So I hope these tips will help you get started with creating videos. Let me know in the comments if you found this helpful, if let me know what was the biggest insight or takeaway from today's video. Now, since you're here, I invite you to walk around the channel, check out the other videos I have here. I'm sure you'll find something helpful because there's more where this came from. Before you leave, also make sure to remember to grab the free training from the link underneath this video to start making your first or your next $1,000 in your online business. Thank you for being here, and I'll see you next time.